Well, they actually revealed the Switch 2 before January 17th, and looks like I'm gonna have to eat me some Brussels sprouts. Awesome. What's happening, Internet? Kwing here, and today we're discussing the Switch 2 reveal. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Yeah, that was something. I was kind of hoping that they were gonna do, the whole people commercial thing, maybe see like the Karen lady again playing the newest Mario game, but what do we get? We get, I don't know, a CGI showcase with no voiceover. We haven't learned anything about the system other than the fact that it looks like it ate another Switch, so it's like this big black brick thing that just kind of, I guess, got bigger than a regular Switch. And it looks much bigger. It almost looks like the size of a Steam Deck, if you really think about it. Not that that's a bad thing, mind you, but we do know that some aspects of the Switch have leaked already, and the specs of the system will basically be a PS4 Pro, which I'm all on board for that. I don't care. The system does look a little bit too big for my taste, but I mean, as long as it can fit up there next to the other Switch, I mean, I don't really care. All I care about is the games, and the only game that we've seen so far is Mario Kart 9, which, come on, we gotta give it up to Nintendo for actually giving us Mario Kart 9. That in itself deserves a round of applause. But some things need to change, and one of those changes is Donkey Kong. I mean, why? You had this design, this really nice contemporary look for Donkey Kong from Donkey Kong Country, and of course the Smash Brothers games, and even the latest Mario vs. Donkey Kong, and you're going to give us this weird fusion between, what is that, the Mario Brothers movie Donkey Kong and his old arcade flyer from the 80s? I mean, what's with the cartoony eyes? He doesn't even look cool anymore. He looks like a soft, cuddly, like, stuffed animal, and who wants that? I mean, if you're trying to distance yourself from, like, people thinking Nintendo's for kids, I mean, that's not really the right place to go there, Nintendo. Donkey Kong looked cool, like a hip uncle or dad-like archetype, and now you turn him into this weird, fuzzy, stuffed animal. Just, no. Now, this could all be pre-alpha footage, mind you. Mario looks like a fusion between his movie counterpart and video game, so, I mean, he doesn't look too bad. A little chubbier than we've seen, but, Again, this could all be alpha footage anyway, so it doesn't really matter. They didn't technically announce Mario Kart 9 either. They just showed us the possibility of what some of these games look like. Now, remember, Nintendo has done tech demos before of games that never existed. Mario 128, for example, where Mario had all these little people running around on the GameCube. We never got a game like that. We got Mario Sunshine. Legend of Zelda had this amazing tech demo, which I still have somewhere. Of course, it's not going to look as cool as it did, but you could see, Link looked pretty awesome, and well, we never got that. We got something completely different, and never, trust what your eyes see with game system reveals. So, what is going to be happening? Well, I'm going to be eating Brussels sprouts on April 2nd when the Nintendo Direct for the Switch 2 happens. But I'm going to predict something here and now. There will probably be a Nintendo Direct in February for the remainder of the Switch titles coming out. Because now that Nintendo is pushing the Switch 2 to the forefront, which is fine, that makes a lot of sense, they're going to have like a big Nintendo Direct for the remaining Switch games because people still don't know what's coming out for the Switch this year. This is Switch's last year. We know that the system is coming out in 2025, but they're not telling us when because they're going to reveal that information during the Nintendo Direct. Now, the Nintendo Direct for the Switch 2, what I think is going to happen is they're going to say the system's probably going to come out in May or June. Usually, how Nintendo does things with their track record is the system is revealed 6 months before the console actually comes out. So now that they've given us what the system looks like, and people are all talking about the Switch 2, which this was a great thing that Nintendo did. This is very good momentum, and this is good marketing. This really is. You had the industry buzzing about the Switch 2 because most of the games coming out right now, they're not necessarily lackluster, but they're not really big hit games. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Dynasty Warriors Origin. It's a lot of fun, but it's not a huge AAA title. It's more like a big AA title. And even Wuthering Waves was a game that actually came out last year on mobile, and then Sony's, plastering it now. And it's a really fun game, but it's also not really a system seller. And then next month, you've got the Yakuza Like a Dragon, which is kind of like a filler thing before the next big Yakuza game. But I'm going to play it because I like the pirate aesthetic. I think that's cool. And of course, Monster Hunter is probably going to be the biggest game of, the winter. It's basically like the Final Fantasy of this year, and everybody loves Monster Hunter. So what I would have done as Nintendo, instead of showing Mario Kart 9, I would have shown that Monster Hunter Wilds could run on the Switch 2, because I think a version of Monster Hunter Wilds most likely is going to be happening for the Switch. I think that's a no-brainer, because Capcom will be like, you know what, finally we have the graphical abilities to kind of port our games, and I can see that happening with Monster Hunter. Also, Capcom is on a list of developers that are supporting the Switch 2, from Ubisoft, Capcom, Konami, and things like that. Just go to Nintendo's official reveal, and you can see all the developers clapping. Those are people that are going to have games like within the launch window. That's usually how this works. So the only big game that Capcom has in development right now or ready to release would be Monster Hunter Wilds, the Onimusha thing, and eventually the Okami will be. So Okami will most likely, the sequel, come out to the Switch 2 as well. We also know that the Switch 2 is going to be backwards compatible with all of the Switch games. How that's going to work, I don't know. Probably be a transfer system just like PS4 Pro to PS5. Probably not going to be too complicated. At least I hope so. I really hope the system has a lot of good memory. And I'm just going to throw it out here. I think that the Switch 2 should have 2 versions. I think it should have a cheap, affordable version, and I think it should have like a Switch 2 Pro type thing that has more memory, because these games are going to have a lot more gigabytes than the games that we were accustomed to on the Switch. There were some games on the Switch that were like 20 gig, but there's going to be bigger games on Switch 2, just based on, the graphical capabilities. Especially if you played PS4 Pro, then you know that there were games like Miles Morales and even Ghost of Tsushima that were pretty big system hogs, especially Arkham Knight, which was 70 gigabytes after all the updates. So, I mean, you're going to see bigger, beefier games on the Switch 2. The controllers, they look okay. I mean, I kind of miss the color scheme that the Switch had. It stood out. This is a very professional-looking system, but I wouldn't say this is a real crowd pleaser in terms of the way that the system looks. This could, just be one of the ways that the system is. They could have an all-white system. They could have a colored system, like green or red or purple or whatever. This is the one that they decided to show us first, and it's got kind of like this magnetic approach to it. I hope that the Joy-Cons don't have the Joy-Con drift problem that we had with the original Joy-Cons in Switch 1. Now we have to call it Switch 1, by the way. Switch 1, Switch 2, and maybe someday Switch 3? I don't know. If it not broke, I mean, don't fix it. Look at Sony. Sony's going to have up to PlayStation 7 someday, and maybe then they'll go back to PlayStation something else, but it's always going to be PlayStation something, like something number. I wouldn't change it. It's very genius marketing. It really is, because you know what the next system is going to be. But yeah, I mean, other than that, the Switch 2, it looks okay, I guess. I mean, I would like to see a little bit more. There are going to be some select cities in the US that will have hands on the system that Nintendo will be announcing during their Nintendo Direct in April. But like I said, we're most likely getting a software showcase for remaining Switch games that will be happening sometime in February. February is usually when they have their Nintendo Directs. April seems like it's too far away to announce, like, you know, whatever they're going to be doing, because people still don't know the console games that are coming out for the Switch. Like, nobody has any idea, to be honest. And most likely what's going to happen now is Metroid Prime 4 is going to be cross-platform between Switch and Switch 2. Like, I totally see that happening. Any other new games that I can think of off the top of my head for the Switch, I can't think. I only think about Metroid, personally. That's the only one that I'm really interested in. Everything else is ports. Xenoblade Chronicles is a port. The Donkey Kong Country Returns, which we're playing as a Wii port with HD graphics, and it's fun, but we're going to be done with that today, so, you know, then it'll be mostly Dynasty Warriors and some other stuff. I could see Dynasty Warriors Origins probably coming to the Switch too. In fact, there's a lot of games that I could see, you know, this could be a very good opportunity, like when the Wii U came out, where we see games that came out over the last 6 months end up being ported to the Switch 2. Now I want to hear from you guys and gals. Are you hyped about the Switch 2 finally being revealed? Or are you kind of like, yeah, I'm not happy? If you're not happy, tell me why. If you are happy, tell me why too, because I'm in the happy camp too. I'm excited about this thing. I can't wait to see, you know, what type of games they release. The only thing I'm hesitant about is I am not sold on Donkey Kong's look, because as a Donkey Kong fan, this is not my favorite at all. This is gross. this makes me sad. But anyway, I'll see you guys live later today with a bunch of live streams. Make sure you like and share this video with a friend. Really helps out the channel a lot, because we are shadow banned, and we can use all of your love and attention as we can to get this video out into the open waters of the internet. All right, people. I'll be back with more topic videos in the future. Take care, everybody, and see you live later today. Bye-bye.